Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom. And today I thought we'd do a couple of quick cards using the lovely Merriest Moments. This one is one that was actually brought out last year, and I haven't used it as much this year, which is such a shame because it is beautiful. Not only have you got these lovely stamps, but you've got this fabulous hybrid embossing folder, which means you can cut and emboss all in one go. And you can see I've got the large outline die there, or you can do this beautiful detailed die as well. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Photopolymer stamps, so you can help those will line up beautifully, and the dies cut out all of these beautiful elements here, as well as a fabulous little stitched panel for the sentiments too. So I thought it would be a great idea to kind of work out a way of getting 2 cards from one die cut. At Christmas we want to make cards and perhaps be a little bit quicker or a bit more economical. So I thought if I used the die like this, we could literally pop it through and you get this lovely effect, but you get 2 cards. And of course, you know me, I do like a fancy fold. So there's just a variation. We've just got a little bit of a panel on the front there, as you can see, with those die cuts. And I've used the middle section for this one here. And then to add some interest, I've used the beautiful Lights Aglow DSP. So this is in the mini catalogue, and you've got 4 each of 12 designs, but different colourways. So you've got sort of basic black with some bokeh on the back, foiling on the front. And it's with Very Vanilla, which is nice for a change, although I haven't used any of the card with Very Vanilla today. This lovely tree, you can see there, and some stars. These panels are the ones I've probably not used as much of, but I think the reverse side is lovely with the bokeh dots. This beautiful gold foiled Very Vanilla with some sort of swags. Again, just a Very Vanilla there. You've got a slight sheen, hopefully. There we go. And on the reverse, again, sort of these remind me of mermaid. I always say mermaid tails, as if mermaids are real. Oh, maybe they are. Lovely trees again here, sort of Christmas trees, and some more bokeh. Some more lovely snowflakes. More snowflakes, gold ones this time. And again, some more lovely fishtails. And then again, some just standard sort of stripes with those lovely foiled shapes. So that's the DSP I've used. Now I've done these in Evening Evergreen, but one of the ones I thought I'd make now, we'll actually do in some cherry cobbler. So great for using up scraps. If you've got pieces of DSP that you've cut for other card fronts, those could be used here. As well, as you can see, I've just used the reverse as well to add a little bit of interest. And the other thing I've done is I've just used one set of the die. So again, not only does this go through with one pass, but because I've used one of each of the leaves and the flowers, you can pop those through once as well. So let's get started with some stamping. So I've got a piece of my basic white here. In fact, and the first thing I'm going to do is do a bit of die cutting. So we want to actually do our detailed embossed section. So this is the easiest way I have found to do it. I take this detailed die here and grab your piece of card, and this is just a quarter of A4, so 10.5 by 14, and pop that through your die cutting machine. And you get one of these. Now, obviously, that hasn't got the detail on it at the moment. So this is what I do, and I find it the easiest way. Here's my hybrid embossing folder with my outline die, as you can see here. Open it up, and I say that this fits around the outside of that embossed shape. And what I do is I leave that in there, and I pop my die cut in. She says, there we go. So this is the easiest way to get it lined up. So outline die, pop the die cut inside that, leave that in place, run that through your embossing machine, and you will get this beautiful embossed, lined up, lovely die. So that's how I get mine lined up the easiest way without it slipping or anything, because the outline die holds it in place. Now what I'm going to do is just take that in with my trimmer, and I'm just going to pop. You'll just see, and I'm just going to cut most of the way with my trimmer. So I'm just lining that up on the outside here and cutting that middle section, and that is just to make it easy for me. It doesn't have to be absolutely straight, but you just need to make sure you come in slightly from the edge, and then I just come in and just snip away around those little bits and up, cut between those two leaves, and there's my one piece. And then the next piece I'm coming in here, just trimming, and down at the bottom here. So you end up with this middle section like so, and your two outer pieces. Okay, so that's our trimming done. Next we want to do a bit of stamping. So again, it's photopolymer, so you want to make sure you're well cushioned. So I'm using cherry cobbler and evening evergreen and just a little bit of crushed curry. So my flowers, I'm just going to make sure it's inked up well. Tap, tap, tap. And I'm just going to do the stamens in the centre. Now there is a die to cut those out if you want to. For simplicity and because we're doing quite a few, at Christmas we do quite a few cards, I'm keeping it simple just with the stamping. So repeat with that smaller flower. Again, in there with the stamens. Then onto our leaves. Oh, let's do my holly berries and then pop my cherry cobbler away. So the holly berries just in there, like so. And then with the leaves, you want one of each size. Now I'm going to leave a reasonable amount of space between these because I'm going to put it all through in one pass. But what I would often do is do two at a time. So I would stamp two, and then on my first pass I'd cut one, and my second pass I'd cut the other one. Like so. So again, our small leaves on there. Again, I'll pop one in here because then I can die cut this one here and this leaf with some space between them. So we've got our leaves. So again, you just stamp as many as you want. But that's going to go to one side. I've already stamped, I haven't. I've die cut my sentiment panels, and that's the one I've done twice. So I'm going to stamp one of those in my green and one in the red. So I'm just hovering over that to line it up. I'm leaving space around it so I can get my flowers and decoration around. Now obviously I've stamped in a colour there, so I'm just going to quickly clean my stamp off so that we can stamp in a different colour. So I'll just get my cherry cobbler out. So I'm just going to use my Stampin' Scrub, which is my wet side here. I'm going to quickly clean that off and then dry it off here. That means it's ready to go straight into another ink pad. So here's my cherry cobbler. And I'm dabbing that all over because I know it's a little bit on the sort of getting a little bit dry. I need to re-ink it really. There we go. But again, stamping onto a stamping pierce mat, you get a really good impression. So there we go. That's our stamping for the moment, although we've still got a little bit to do on the inside of our cards. So now let's do some die cutting. So if you grab your dies, I find if you've got a magnetic plate, that will always help. I find it easiest to use a little bit of post-it note tape. So I'm just going to pop these dies around there. I find on leaves easiest to line at the tip and the bottom. A bit of post-it note tape to hold it in place. With the flowers, you will usually find on the flowers you've got one that's a different shape to the others. So on this one, I'm going for this kind of curved shape here, and that will help me line it up like so. Again, one of the berries on here is slightly bigger than the others, so we can quickly pop that on there. Again, we're going to come in with our large leaf here. Now, in fact, I'm just going to take that bit of post-it note tape because I don't want it over my flower. So let's do my flower first. So again, look for the different shaped leaf. There we go. And you see, you can just line that up on the outside. Pop my leaf in. And again, you know, make sure they're not too close. You don't want those dies overlapping. And then finally, let's come in with my little leaf. There we go, just pop that in. And then run that through your die cutting machine. There we go. Okay, so those are just ready to pop out. And then you can just pop some more through in a moment. So there's my flowers. There are my other pieces. So on with the card making. So you're going to need 2 half sheets of A4 to make the 2 cards. So again, if I was doing lots of these, I'd be doing 2 portrait, then 2 landscape. So you want a piece of card that is 10.5 by 29 centimetres. That's 11.5 if you're using UK measurements, 11.5 by 4 1/8, and you're going to score that at 14.5 centimetres, 5 3/4 inches. I will put the measurements for US cardstock in the bottom as well. Once you've scored that, and you can see I've creased it there, line it up at 3.5 centimetres on the right hand side, and you're actually going to cut, I'll do this horizontally for you just to show you. You're going to cut this bottom section here. So just from the bottom up to that centre score line. And just lift it up and make sure you haven't gone too far. Tiniest little twitch. And you've gone right up to that. Then you're going to come in with your snips and you're just going to cut to the back edge of that score line. And there's our card front. Now for our landscape card, you're going to go for 14.5 by 21 centimetres, and that's going to be scored at 10.5. And then on this one, you're going to cut the bottom section here at 4.5 centimetres up to the middle line, that score line. Flip it around, line it up at 4.5 again, and this time cut from the top down to that middle section. And you can judge it by looking at that little line either side of the cutting blade. Now again, you're going to come in now and cut on each side up to that cut. So, like so. Those pieces plenty big enough to use for another project, so keep those to one side. And there's our second card front. Now we want to create our cards, so I'm going to start laying those out. So what I've already cut is a piece of card for this one, and this is 14 by 6.5, that's going to create my layer. And I've got a second piece of basic white for the inside, which is the same measurements. And as I said, all the measurements for this for UK and US cardstock will be in the description bar below. For my second card, I've got a layer of lovely soft succulent. And this one is actually the same as the front here. So on this one, the card is 10.5 by 5.5. And then the inside is actually slightly smaller because it's 5 by 10 centimetres. So those are our layers of cardstock. Now what I want to do is obviously choose my DSP to go on my cards. So I thought for this one, I'd go for this lovely gold one and red. So there's my. And I just thought that would look nice with the evening evergreen. And then for my other one, I've got a scrap in the centre here of my tree design, which has got the stars on the reverse. So again, I'm just going to pop a piece on each side of those for that one. So for this card here, we want two pieces of DSP. I want a piece that's for this side, which is I might actually go for a border 14 by 3.5. So I'm going to do 14 by 3 centimetres. So 3 centimetres by 14. And that's going to pop on the side there. And then for that centre panel, you want some that is 6 centimetres by 13.5. So I'm going to cut my 6 centimetres and then trim that down to 13.5. And that's going to go on my panel like so. For my second card, so on this I want 2 panels for each side and 1 for the centre. So I thought for the centre I'm going to use this scrap that I've actually got with the bokeh design on it. So for this one I want a piece that is 10 by yeah, okay. 10 by 5 centimetres. Okay, so I'm going to cut that to 10. No, that's going to be 9.5 by 5, I'm sure, actually. Let's... oh, no, okay, it is. No, believe your measurements. Okay, so I'm cutting a piece that is 10 by... 10 by 5 centimetres. Here we go. 10 by 5 centimetres for the centre there. And then I want a piece that is 9 by 10.5 centimetres. And it wants to be 10.5 high by 9. So in fact what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut this piece at 9 centimetres. Then I'm going to cut it to 10.5. I'm trying to decide which bit I'm showing. Yep, 10.5. And then I'm going to pop it in vertically and cut that at 4.5 centimetres. Then I'll have 2 pieces for each side which will match. Yeah, the pattern will continue across them. So, okay, now we want to start adding our layers. So before we do anything, what I want to do is I want to add my 2 pieces of get my words straight. I want to add my 2 pieces of decoration to the front, so these 2 outer edges. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to run some Stampin' Seal in from the edge down that card front. And I'm actually going to I'm going to fold it up, because what I want to do is make sure that those pieces, I'm actually going to add a little bit closer to the edge there. want to make sure that these pieces don't go over the edge of the card. Obviously you want to make sure they fit within your envelope. So I'm just going to pop those in, and those will overlap, and that's absolutely fine. So once you're happy with that, then you can put your layer of card on the front there. Up to you what sort of glue you use entirely. I find it works with, I was going to put dimensionals on this, and I'm going to use wet glue to add my I'm going to use my seal to add my layer to the front of it. Dear me, I can't get my words out today. So I'm just going to pop that in there like so. Just centre that. And then I'm going to pop some dimensionals onto the back. There we go. So and again, with this, it's a sort of a tall piece of card, so, you know, I usually say one in each corner and one in the middle. In this instance, I'm kind of doing I'm doing sort of 6, but supporting it in the middle again there. So just take those backs off. And open that out, and then you can add your layer, and as I said, that then covers up where those die cuts are and gives you a really pretty effect. Add a second piece of DSP to this side. And so this time I've actually created a layer. And you see on this one I actually put it flush to the edge, and this one I've created a small border. So either way, it's just half a centimetre difference, 1/4 of an inch. So now we're ready to add our panel to the front. So we can pop some, again, dimensionals on the back here. And then I use my larger flower, larger poinsettia, and I just shaped it gently with a bone folder. And then added that to the top corner. And what I'm going to do here is actually add my dimensional to the top corner, and then add my flower over the top. That way I know it's not going to interfere with my sentiment. Grab my holly leaf, and just you can add a little bit of adhesive to the end there. I'm just going to use a little bit of Tombow. And just pop that like so. And then I'm going to use my smallest leaf at the bottom with my little hollyberry trio. So add a dimensional to the back there. Again, a little bit of adhesive. Might have to probably put that on in a moment. There we go. So then we can take our backing off those dimensionals, and you'll see all of a sudden this card comes to life with that lovely poinsettia on the front and a little bit of contrast with our leaf. So there's card number 1. Now we're on to our second card. Oh no, we're not quite finished on card number 1. We need to stamp that we need to do the panel for the inside. So this is our panel, and all I'm going to do is just grab my holly berries and my leaf, and just pop a couple of leaves in the corner there. And that can then go on the inside of our card, and then it'll be finished. There we go. So just pop a bit of seal. It's card to card, it's flat. That's perfect for going on the inside there. Now you'll see on that one I hadn't quite stamped it fully, so if you're bothered about that, just come in and you can cover that up with a little bit of Stampin' Blend. If it wanted a little bit darker, just come in like so, and then that's barely noticeable. Okay, so card number 1. So card number 2 we can start to assemble. So this one again, we're going to add our layer of DSP to the front of our cardstock. And we're going to add our DSP to the inside, or rather the back portion of our card. And say these ones actually, this is one where they fit flush. So you see there, just fitting that to it. I'm getting in all sorts of gluey mess. There we go. Okay. Now the next bit we want to do is probably the fiddliest bit of all, and it's not very fiddly. All you're going to do is you're going to add this piece to the centre. So I'm just going to use some Tombow, so I've got some wiggle room. Just keep it away from the very edges. And just pop that in the centre there. And just use those outer 2 lines to help get it square. Like so. And once you've done that, we're going to add flush this panel here. So up to you which sort of glue you want. I'm going to use my Tombow just to give me that little bit of say wiggle room, and just pop that straight over the top there, like so. And then again we're going to do the same, decorate at the front of our card. So I'm going to use a dimensional on the corner here, and I've got a little bit more space, but if you're at all bothered that you're not going to get your alignment quite right, pop it in place first on your card front to make sure that doesn't overlap too much. And again I'm just going to come in with a leaf here. And again, you know, if you've got time to do extra die cutting, then that's perfect, because you can just add as many embellishments as you want there. So, then just come in again with our dimensionals on the back there. So all that's left is just to stamp the inside panel. In fact, I'm going to use my small one on, as it's quite narrow, to leave myself space. I'll grab my holly berries. And add that to the inside of my card. There we go. And there we have our 1 die cut, 2 cards, cherry cobbler, evening evergreen. Do you have a preference? I like them all. I think they'd be lovely and just something a little bit different for the holiday season. So thank you for watching. If you'd like to purchase any of the items you've seen today, just pop along to the Stampin' Up shop and select me as your demonstrator so that I can send you a thank you gift and card in the post. So thank you for watching and come back soon. Bye now.